that leads us into chapter 38, The King's Revenge. And this chapter, the chapter title is also the name of the ship that Redbeard is captaining. All right, and in this corner, we have the true form manticore arcanist Calisto versus the Reaper arcanist Captain Redbeard. So Calisto has to have like level 8 willpower to withstand the tears, because that's the first thing that Redbeard does, come out with tears, and Calisto does, he struggles with it, but he breaks it fairly quickly, a lot faster than anybody else. And Volke's just standing there like, eh.
Volke's immune, but Calisto, it wouldn't surprise me if he had some sort of trinket or other goodie hidden on his person that helps him.
That's a very good point, yeah. So Calisto should have actually asked Volke to use his Pokedex to come up with a battle strategy against the Reaper, because I don't think Calisto was prepared to go against the Reaper. We find out who the boots that Joze had Volke imbue, and that Calisto was the one wearing these boots. And we find that this was a huge advantage to him, because obviously manticore arcanists can't just shadow step or blood step like Reapers, so that's a huge advantage, a surprise to the Reaper arcanist. Now, as they're battling, Calisto ends up being able to like physically separate the Reaper from the arcanist. I didn't even know that could happen. And then at the same time, it's just like, oh my gosh, how strong is this guy?
It just made me wonder, because I didn't realize it could happen either. And I was like, well, could Luther just be pulled apart from Volke somehow? If you could reach inside the armor, separate them somehow as well?
I think maybe if there's like a young nightmare that isn't fully formed yet, or that has parts of the armor missing still.
A few more gaps to get through.
Right. But I think once it's a full suit of armor, I don't think there's anything that could get through that without the nightmare letting it, basically.
Yeah, it's tough, but major props to Calisto for his muscles.
So Calisto just completely obliterates Redbeard, and then he orders the rest of the crew to be just thrown to the waves. This is one of those moments where I think Volke is definitely not okay with. Granted, he just murked over half of Redbeard's crew. Like, just straight, I don't even know how to like compare it. He basically went Mulan on Redbeard's crew. Like, there's nobody else to compare it to.
There really isn't. It's video game-esque.
Right. Like Dynasty Warriors level.
That's what I thought of as well. So let me kill 1,000 people on my own.
Right. And so we see the newer pirate from Calisto's ship coming out, and he's demanding his payment. And part of his payment was for mystical creature parts. And Calisto asks, hey, where did the Wendigo go? And Volke's like, well, he went down with the ship. It's in the bottom, it's in the ocean now. And he's like, okay, well, what about the ghoul? And they're like, we don't know. So this new arcanist that Calisto has is like, well, you're just trying to screw me out of my part of the deal. You've had 3 ships now. We've lost so many of these creatures. I want the Reaper. And Calisto's just kind of like, meh, why not? You know what? Go for it. The new pirate goes up, stabs the Reaper's cloth, because it's essentially just a cloth and a scythe on the ground. And before the new arcanist could really do anything, he just kind of falls over and is dead, because that's what happens when you kill a Reaper. It's called the King's Revenge, hence the name of the ship and the chapter title. If you kill a Reaper, then whoever kills that Reaper is also going to die. I wonder, and I think we've made a comment before, and I can't remember which Eldarin it was, but I think there was an Eldarin that had like instant death immunity. So this is one of my, like, I wonder if they could kill a Reaper without dying themselves, because that's an instant death.
It seems like that's what it would protect against, which makes them just the perfect person to go out and hunt down Reaper arcanists. Not that there's a large market for that, but
I think it was like a fairy or something like that. I think it might have been the Earl King. Apologies on my random thoughts.
No, we can actually, if you know what it might be, we can look it up. I was like, I have no clue what it is, so I don't know how I'd be able to.
I'm on the Frith Wiki right now.
Yeah, I'm going to it as well.
After some research, the guys figure out that the Eldarin which are immune to instant death are the Abyssal Dragon, the Celestial Dragon, the Earl King, the Grave Moth, and the Grim Reaper. Some have it as an augmentation, and some have it as both an augmentation and as an innate ability.
So all that's left of the Reaper is their scythe, which Callisto grabs as a token.
It's got to be some money right there. If you can't kill Reapers, it's got to be hard to get their scythe.
Right. When especially this Reaper was definitely a lot stronger than what we saw with Jevil because of the way the blade was a lot shinier, a lot smoother, a lot better looking, because Jevil is a quote-unquote master arcanist. Sorry, I'm going to always do that.
It's his title. It's his title.
When this happened, when he got killed by the King's Revenge, I was like, well, that was stupid of him.
It really was. It just has that feeling.
So Callisto decreed in order to bring back any mystical creature parts next time to Volke. Like, Volke's going to actually listen to Callisto. But Volke also does say that there will not be a next time and that this is not going to happen again. So we'll hope and see. We do want to thank everybody for listening. And we want to also remind everybody that Time Marked Warlock is going to be out for ebook and audiobook around August 20th. They'll both be released on the same day, and that is roughly 3 weeks from when this episode airs itself. So if you are interested in Shammy's other works, that is coming out. I know that there's been a lot of pushback or a lot of hype about this book. It was supposed to come out earlier this year, but hopefully with all of the setbacks that she had, it's going to be that much more amazing when we finally do get it.
Eric, Scott, and I want to thank everyone for listening today. We post a new episode every Wednesday morning at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, and 8 Pacific Standard Time. We are on all podcasting platforms and are also on YouTube as well for video. After the additional episode airs, we post chapter-by-chapter videos every day in a smaller, easier-to-digest format. We do want to give a special shout-out to the final member of our team, Dan Mackison, one of the admins for the Frith Chronicles Wiki, link listed below, and doing his best to keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes. If you want to reach out to us, you could email us at frithguildpod@gmail.com or on Facebook or any other social media by searching for Frith Guild Podcast. Just to remind everybody, we have links to everything in the description below on both the podcast and YouTube. Scott, do you have anything else you want to add this week?
No, just excited to hear more about these adventures with Zelfrey and the Marshal of the Southern Seas.
And we're actually 2 episodes away from being done with this book.
Quickly approaching.
I feel like every time we've said this the last couple books, like, oh my gosh, we're already there, but we're chugging along. So, all right, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week. The chapter title is also the name of the ship that Redbeard is captaining. Is a captain of? I don't know if captain. Sorry. I promise I can speak English.